I've got to be honest, the officials allowed her the moment to get the emotions out of her, and some officials wouldn't do that, especially with
quad. Like, that hurts. Like, the ref can't miss that, and then I have to play with a contusion in my leg the rest of the game. Like, it's ridiculous. Can't miss calls like that.
She marched at the referee, screaming, dropping F-bombs, and somehow walked away with 0 technical fouls. Caitlin Clark just had the worst night of her season, and she is not hiding how angry she is about it.
Valkyries demolishing the Fever tonight. By the way, very early on in the offseason, when free agency started and it became clear the Indiana Fever wasn't really going to do much. And then we had the draft. You had all of us in the creator community screaming, this is not a championship squad. They don't have the appropriate size. They don't have the appropriate length. They haven't addressed a lot of issues. Guys, this team is officially 14-10.
Wednesday night, in her first game back from a back injury, Clark shot 4 for 14 from the field, 1 for 8 from 3, a season low, and when the whistle didn't blow on a hard foul that left her limping, she completely lost it. But the stat line wasn't even the real story. What Caitlin Clark did after the final buzzer is what has the entire WNBA world talking right now.
The fallout last night, the knee to the quad heard around the world, the crash out experienced around the world. We got video of the other part of a situation where Caitlin Clark came off the court and she was pissed off that she was being pulled out of the game. And very interesting.
Let's set the scene. Clark had been out over a week with a re-aggravated back injury. Coach Stephanie White confirmed it herself. So when Clark got upgraded to available on Wednesday, everyone knew she wasn't at full strength. Reports had her on a minutes restriction somewhere around 25, and the opponent waiting for her was brutal timing. The Golden State Valkyries, a second-year franchise, walked in having won 7 straight games. This was a statement game for both sides. The first quarter, Clark looked rusty. Nobody panics over one rusty quarter, not for her, but then the second quarter happened, and that's when the whole night flipped. Clark drove hard to the rim for a layup. Kaya Stokes met her at the basket. Contact. Clark hit the floor. The basket counted, but there was no foul call, and Clark did not take it well. The ref can't miss that, Clark said afterward. She hit me right in the quad. It hurts, and then I have to play with a contusion on my leg the rest of the game.
With Stokes that made you upset, and then you hopped into the back.
That hurts. Like, the ref can't miss that, and then I have to play with a contusion in my leg the rest of the game. Like, it's ridiculous. Can't miss calls like that.
That's when things stopped being about basketball. Clark went straight at the official, not a quiet word. A full sprint toward her, yelling from point-blank range. Multiple reports say she dropped F-bombs, arguing that the Fever weren't getting the same whistle Golden State was getting all night.
It was on and popping in this game.
even make a move to try to keep Burton off.
Caitlin crashed out on the refs. Right here. Right here. She lost it. And you could tell at one point in the game, later after this, she got pulled out of the game, and I think she slammed the table on the way out of the game. But this is another look at this, real close.
I've got to be honest, the officials allowed.
She said, F, I've been fouled 5 effing times. Give me a effing call.
Somehow, no technical foul. The ref let it go. But everyone in that arena saw exactly how heated it got. And here's the part that makes this worse. When the referee reportedly told Clark she initiated the contact, Clark shot back immediately. Which is fine, she said, but you can't knee me in the leg. Knock me over.
Did they give you an explanation right after when you...
She said I initiated the contact. Which is fine. You can't knee me in the leg. Knock me over.
You'd think that would be the emotional peak of the night. It wasn't. Because after that blow-up, Clark's shooting night completely fell apart. She finished 4 for 14 from the field, 1 for 8 from deep. A season worst. 5 turnovers, a team high. And for the first time all year, Clark posted a negative plus-minus. Not once all season had that happen until Wednesday night in the same game she was screaming at officials.
Caitlin Clark is not happy. Caitlin Clark absolutely slammed Stephanie White for continuing to sub her out. She's sick and tired of Stephanie White's sabotage. She's sick and tired of this BS minutes restriction, which I believe is a stats limit. They are trying to limit what she can do in the statistical category. Caitlin Clark absolutely let Stephanie White have it, along with the referees, man. She is sick and tired of this nonsense. And it's just starting to blow over, man. It's too much now.
Probably the best defensive team in the league. They're really good at that. They do what they do. And I had some good looks that didn't go down, and then, you know, I shot some tougher looks too. But, you know, I thought I finally kind of played with a little bit more pace and a little bit more burst, especially down the stretch in the fourth. But hopefully I don't have to keep playing 25 minutes.
Hopefully I don't have to keep playing 25 minutes. I played 10 minutes in the first half. I can't get no damn rhythm. Stephanie White, can you stop playing games now?
The Fever lost 88-75, Golden State's 8th straight win, with Gabby Williams dropping 16 and Caitlin Chen adding 14 off the bench. A promising young franchise looking more and more like a real threat. But that still wasn't the moment that had people talking the most. After the game, Caitlin Clark did something she almost never does. She declined to speak to the media completely. No podium, no quotes, nothing. Think about that for a second. This is a player who talks after wins, after losses, after controversy, after everything. She's been one of the most available superstars in the league. And on the one night where she was hurt, frustrated, and clearly furious at the officiating, she said nothing at all. That silence tells you more than any quote could. This wasn't just a bad shooting night. It was a body that isn't fully healed, colliding with a coaching staff trying to manage her minutes, colliding with officiating that fans have questioned for her all season long, colliding with a superstar whose patience looks like it's finally running thin. This isn't the first time this year people have argued the referees are missing calls on Clark, but Wednesday was the loudest, most visible explosion of that frustration yet. And walking away from the media afterward makes it feel like more than just one bad night. So here's where it stands. Caitlin Clark is banged up. She's furious at the officiating, and she just had the worst shooting performance of her season. And for the first time all year, she didn't want to talk about it. With the Fever chasing a playoff push, that combination is worth watching closely. What do you think?
Yeah, man. Sophie Cunningham has officially arrived into the mainstream. Hot f***ing damn.
"8 minutes. That is all the warning Sophie Cunningham got before she walked into a UFC octagon in front of a sold-out T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. No rehearsal, no plan, no shoes.
And a star is born. Sophie Cunningham, she's not an overnight sensation anymore. She's not just a meme. She's not just somebody who put J.C. Sheldon in a headlock. She's not just somebody who went 2v1 against the Connecticut Sun. She's not somebody who pointed at DeWanna Bonner. Sophie Cunningham has officially hit the mainstream. She has now placed herself as one of the 3 top stars of the WNBA.
And by the time she finished her lap around that cage, she had done something nobody expected. She took over UFC 329 on the same night Conor McGregor made his long-awaited return, with Mike Tyson sitting in the crowd. The night before, a Fever game. So how on earth does an Indiana Fever guard end up as a surprise ring girl at the biggest fight card of the year? Trust me, the answer is even better than you think.
Sophie Cunningham last night broke the internet, showing up at UFC 329, the Conor McGregor card. That was a debacle in of itself. But Sophie Cunningham showed up, not in the crowd. There wasn't a celebrity camera panning to her. Sophie Cunningham was chatting with Dana White and said, "Hey, I want to walk around the octagon." Dana White said, "Sweet, you're a ring card girl for the co-main event." Sophie Cunningham, next thing you know, barefoot, holding up a ring card.
Let us set the scene. Saturday night, July 11th, Las Vegas, UFC 329. This was not just any fight card. This was McGregor versus Max Holloway, the rematch the entire combat sports world had been waiting on. Celebrity Row was stacked. Mike Tyson, Drew Brees, Theo Vaughn, Shakur Stevenson, everybody who is anybody was in that building. And sitting right there among them was Sophie Cunningham.
Sophie Cunningham, folks, the future I see for Sophie Cunningham, I think it's beyond being like a WNBA or a basketball analyst. I think Sophie Cunningham's future could very well be like a Good Morning America spot. Like what was that show? Something in Kelly, Regis and Kelly, something like that. She's Kelly. Seriously, Sophie Cunningham can do daytime TV, daytime news anchor. You name it. Everything seems to be on the table for Sophie Cunningham.
Now, if you follow the Fever, you know exactly why she was in Vegas. Indiana plays the Aces on Sunday night. So Sophie had a rare night off in the entertainment capital of the world. And she did what Sophie Cunningham does. She went where the action was. But here is the thing. Sitting ringside was never going to be enough for her, because at some point during the night, Dana White came over to say hello. The two of them have become friends over the past year, and this is where the story turns. Sophie did not wait for an invitation. According to her own retelling, after the fact, she flat out told Dana that if he ever needed a ring girl, she was available. And Dana, being Dana, did not hesitate. He gave her the first round of the Patty Pimblett fight on the spot.
Look at this. Sophie Cunningham was the ring card girl at UFC 329 and did the point. You got her walking around, you got her with the other ring card girls. Like, Sophie Cunningham walked in, did the point, stole the entire card, and left. Ring girl of the year already. Thanks for carrying the show. How can anyone not love this? What? I mean, she, folks, you don't get much more likable than Sophie Cunningham.
Think about that. The co-main event of the biggest card of the year. Millions watching around the world. And the UFC handed the round card to a WNBA player with roughly 8 minutes of notice. Dana White confirmed the timeline himself after the event. 8 minutes. That is it. Most people would panic. Sophie Cunningham is not most people. When the moment came, she kicked off her shoes, grabbed the round one card, and strutted around the octagon barefoot like she had been doing it her entire life. Black tank top, huge smile, soaking in every second of it. And then she did it. The point. The same finger point that became one of the biggest memes of the year after her showdown with Dewana Bonner. She broke it out in the middle of a UFC cage, pointing right at Celebrity Row, and the crowd absolutely lost it. The clips went viral before the fight even started. WNBA fans and UFC fans collided in the same comment sections, and for a few minutes, the biggest star in the building was not a fighter. It was a guard from Indiana. But this night was about to get even crazier because the fights themselves turned into total chaos. Sophie only got one lap around that cage, and here is why. Patty Pimblett choked Benoit Saint-Denis unconscious in 52 seconds. One round. Done.
Co-main event, Patty Pimblett in his... Locked up. He's got it locked up tight. His neck is severely caught. Deep trouble. Chris Buster's out. Patty Pimblett.
Sophie's ring girl career lasted exactly one walk. And then came the main event. Conor McGregor, the biggest name in UFC history, stepped into the cage for his massive comeback moment. It lasted 69 seconds. McGregor threw an opening kick, appeared to blow out his knee, and the whole thing was over before it started. You already know what the internet did with that. The jokes wrote themselves. Fans piled in saying Sophie Cunningham lasted longer in the octagon than Conor McGregor on his own comeback night. That is brutal. And honestly, it is kind of true. And Sophie was not done. After the event wrapped, she was in the octagon with Max Holloway himself, the man who had just beaten McGregor, and the two of them hit the point down together. That photo spread everywhere within hours. Then Dana White stepped up to the podium at the post-fight press conference, and instead of leading with his superstar fighters, he found himself gushing about a basketball player. He told reporters straight up, quote, "I love Sophie Cunningham," end quote, and called her fun.
I love Sophie Cunningham. We've created a relationship, and she was here tonight. And when she walked in, she goes, "Oh, I want to walk around that." I said, "Then you're going to walk around it." Yeah. She's fun.
When the most powerful man in combat sports is publicly singing your praises after his biggest event of the year, you have arrived. So why does this matter beyond one viral night? Because this is the bigger story hiding in plain sight. Sophie Cunningham came to Indiana as Caitlin Clark's enforcer. Now she is a full-blown mainstream celebrity. Her Adidas player exclusive shoe, the Crazy Energy, drops July 24th. She has a podcast. She has UFC executives treating her like family. And she plays for a Fever team sitting at 13-9, the best record in the Eastern Conference. This is what the Caitlin Clark effect really looks like. It is not just one player selling out arenas anymore. It is an entire roster becoming household names, crossing over into other sports, and pulling brand new eyeballs toward the WNBA every single week. 5 years ago, a Fever role player walking a UFC round card would have been unthinkable. Now it breaks the internet. The only question left is whether this was a one-time thing. Dana White clearly loves her. The fans clearly loved it. And Sophie clearly said yes in about 2 seconds. Something tells me we have not seen the last of Sophie Cunningham inside that octagon. Sophie asked for the job, got 8 minutes of notice, and still outshined the biggest fight card of the year. Some people are just built for the spotlight. What do you think? Should the UFC bring Sophie back, or should she stick to breaking ankles instead of round cards? Drop your take in the comments.
What if I was to tell you Alyssa Thomas had another assault against the Indiana Fever on another basketball player in another basketball game?
Lexi Hull was left on the floor holding her face, blood coming from her nose, a towel pressed against the damage, and somehow she was the player called for the foul. The contact came from Alyssa Thomas, the same player recently suspended after making contact with Caitlin Clark's throat.
I'm here to tell you, it very much did happen. And the Pacific player that was hit in the nose and started bleeding in the nose was Lexi Hall. Lexi Hall took a vicious elbow to the face from none other than the serial, I'm gonna have to call her a serial abuser, puncher, choker, Alyssa Thomas. At this point, she has to be suspended. And I'm telling you right now, after I make this video, this thing is gonna grow legs like a tarantula giving birth.
Then, while Hull received medical attention, cameras appeared to show Thomas smiling and laughing near the free throw line. Nobody can say for certain what she was laughing about, but the image immediately exploded online because Fever fans were asking one uncomfortable question. How does Alyssa Thomas keep ending up at the center of these incidents against Indiana players? And why does it always feel like the injured player is the one being punished?
Now watch this play here. Boom. Did she laugh? She pointed at her. Looked like she might have pointed at Lexi Hall. What the hell? Let's get back to this article, man. So these are some of the photos here of the incident. So as you guys can see here, she's elbowing Lexi Hall in the face. This is Lexi Hall here. And she laughed. I knew she laughed. She's laughing about assaulting Lexi Hall.
The incident happened during another physical battle between the Indiana Fever and Phoenix Mercury. Caitlin Clark was not playing, which meant Indiana needed even more from Lexi Hull. Hull has built her reputation on effort. She defends hard, attacks loose balls, and throws herself into plays that other players might avoid. But during the third quarter, that effort left her bleeding. A loose ball bounced near the paint. Thomas collected it and moved toward the basket while Hull stepped into the play defensively. As Thomas gathered the ball, her elbow connected directly with Hull's nose. Hull immediately dropped to the court. The replay showed clear contact to the face. She stayed down before eventually reaching the bench, where she pressed a towel against her nose and checked for blood.
Now, this was the incident with her and Caitlin Clark a few weeks ago. Now, this happened on June the 24th. Now, this was Lexi Hall last night. You tell me if anything is wrong with Alyssa Thomas. Tell me. You tell me, and you be the judge. The article goes on to say, while some believe it to be a simple basketball play, others slam Thomas for yet more violence against Indiana players.
But the officials called the foul on Hull. Think about that. Hull was sitting on the floor after taking an elbow to the face, while Thomas was preparing to shoot free throws. It was the exact type of moment that has made Fever fans increasingly frustrated with WNBA officiating. There is the play everyone can see on the replay. Then there is the decision made by the officials. Now, it is important to be fair. There is no clear proof that Thomas intentionally tried to elbow Hull. Basketball moves quickly. Players collide, arms swing, and accidents happen inside the paint. Thomas appeared to be making a basketball move toward the basket. But intent is not the only issue. Control also matters. Thomas is one of the strongest and most physical players in the league. When she attacks through traffic with her elbows high, there is always a risk that someone will get hit. Hull got hit directly in the face, yet she was still called for the foul. That is why the incident became about more than one accidental collision. The reaction afterward made everything even worse. As Hull received treatment, Thomas appeared to be smiling and laughing near the free throw line. Again, nobody outside that conversation knows what she was laughing about. It could have been completely unrelated, but the optics were terrible. Hull was holding a towel against her bleeding nose, while Thomas appeared relaxed only a few feet away. After everything that happened in the previous Fever and Mercury game, fans were never going to ignore that image, because this incident did not happen in isolation. Only weeks earlier, Thomas was involved in one of the season's most controversial moments when she made contact with Caitlin Clark's throat during a battle for the ball. The officials did not punish Thomas during the game, but after reviewing the footage, the league upgraded the play to a flagrant foul 2 and suspended her for 1 game. Clark also left that game with a back injury, while Fever coach Stephanie White publicly criticized the amount of physical contact being allowed against her players. So when Thomas's elbow connected with Hull's nose, fans were not reacting to only one play. They were reacting to what they believe is becoming a pattern.
Tell me. You tell me, and you be the judge. The article goes on to say, while some believe it to be a simple basketball play, others slam Thomas for yet more violence against Indiana players. The intense reactions was made worse by TV capturing Thomas appearing to laugh just seconds later. I guess Alyssa Thomas found it funny that she almost broke Lexi Hall's nose. One fan wrote on X, another added, she needs to be dealt with the way she deserves. She's intentionally trying to hurt other players. She needs to be checked out by a psychiatrist. I told y'all, man, she needs some type of counseling or something. She's a very violent lady.
First, Clark was hit near the throat. Then the league punished Thomas only after the game. Now, another Fever player was left bleeding after contact from the same opponent. And somehow, Hull was the one charged with the foul. That does not automatically make the elbow intentional, but it explains why the clip spread so quickly. Indiana has reached a point where every physical incident feels bigger than the last one. Every collision is replayed. Every missed call becomes another example for fans who believe the Fever are not being protected. The incredible part is that Indiana did not allow the incident to destroy them. Phoenix controlled large sections of the game and built a second-half advantage, but the Fever fought back. Kelsey Mitchell took control offensively. Aaliyah Boston battled inside. Sophie Cunningham made important plays late, and Indiana escaped with a 92-89 victory. That result matters. The Fever were playing without Clark. They had played the previous night. Hull was struck in the face. Phoenix led during the second half, but Indiana still found a way to win. However, the final score was almost overshadowed by the image of Hull sitting on the bench with a towel pressed against her bloody nose. Because this rivalry is no longer only about basketball. Every game carries history. Every hard foul creates suspicion, and every questionable decision adds more pressure to the officials. Nobody is asking the league to remove physical basketball. Fans want intensity. They want rivalries. They want players competing hard. But there must be a line between physical defense and reckless contact. When one player takes an elbow to the face, ends up bleeding and is still called for the foul. Something feels completely backwards. Maybe it was simply an unfortunate basketball collision, but after the previous incident involving Caitlin Clark, Alyssa Thomas is developing a reputation that may become extremely difficult to escape. Was the elbow accidental? Was it reckless? And did the officials get the call completely wrong? Let me know what you saw in the replay.